Hi, welcome back to Toka Backstage. This is Chris Wolf, Executive Director of the Torrance Cultural Arts Foundation. I am pleased and honored to have Jason Ditzian from Kugelplex joining me today to talk about his upcoming performance on January 12th at 8 o'clock at the Armstrong Theater. How are you doing today, Jason?
Doing
How are you
great.
doing?
So much for talking with me.
Oh, thank you for taking the
Doing
time.
great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So I beautiful background. It looks lovely up there. Where are you? You're coming. We're talking from. You're in Mendocino.
Yeah. I actually live up here part time. I have a house up here, and I go back and forth between here and the Bay Area, and then just gigs wherever the gigs take me. So, um, yeah. So we're in on Highway 1 here near the ocean right now.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm envious. So tell me, how did Kugelplex get started? Can you hear me?
And yeah, we froze right as we got into this thing. So
Yeah, darn.
the connection should be good. Is good up here. So I'm not sure what's going on, but yes, let's keep going, and hopefully, I guess you have to edit that part out or something.
Yeah. So tell me about the beginning of Kugelplex.
So Kugelplex has been around since 2001. There are no original members from that 2001 band in the group anymore. It started as a small community thing, and then I joined in 2003, and we have been going ever since. That's my wife and baby right behind us. Yeah, so we started playing, playing little. I think my first gig I ever played with them was actually a bat mitzvah for a 90-year-old Holocaust survivor. And at that point, I had never played klezmer anymore. I was playing in a cabaret with the accordion player, who is his name is Rob Reich, who's actually gone on to be a pretty well-known musician. He plays with Tin Hat and all sorts of folks, tours all over the world. But at the time, he was just the accordion player for this cabaret that I played with him, and he said, "Come learn a few songs, and we can play this thing." And it was very emotionally moving to me to have this experience. This woman who had been waiting all her life to do this, and then another thing came up, and they said, "Hey, you can just learn a few more songs," and eventually, before I knew it, I knew the songs, and I was a klezmer musician, and that was back in 2003. And slowly over time, I ended up taking over the band, and folks came and went, and the band solidified maybe about 10 years ago with the current folks, and we started playing festivals and touring and doing concerts like this. But always our core practice of what we do, and where this music is truly manifests the meaning of it is weddings and things like that. So we do that, and then what we try to do is bring that energy and what we do there to the concert stage.
Awesome. So when people talk about klezmer, if you're not Jewish, people may not really be aware of just how fun and exciting the music is. How do you describe klezmer music to the novice?
So what I like to say, we have a few different things we say. So I like to call it old world soul music.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means to me is that everywhere all over the world, since the beginning of time, people have had music in their villages, and that for everyday ritual, for important life cycle events, people came together, and they had the soul music of their village, of their place. And this is just, a lot of it sounds very similar in some respects. This is just the Eastern European Jewish flavor to that. but whether or not you're Jewish or whether or not like whatever, when you come to this experience with us, I think it touches upon that universal experience of that village, communal village musical experience. And I think usually when I explain it to people that way, they kind of understand, and they might not have thought, it might not be an experience they've ever had themselves, but no matter where they come from, they kind of know that like in their past somewhere there was probably something like that, especially if they know anything about their ancestors. And so kind of like now we have soul music, soul music we have today is dance music based on, the background or an underpinning of like gospel spiritual. That's what we call soul music, like in the 60s, 70s, and today. It's the same thing that we do. It's dance party music, but it has this underpinning of kind of a religious thing, of an ancient roots music. And the purpose of it is to, in these life cycle events or concert, whatever, is to raise the spiritual energy of the space. So that's why we play it. We don't just play it because it's beautiful. We don't just play it because it makes people dance. But the idea is these songs have that ability. If you can connect to the audience or whoever's dancing, to raise the spiritual energy. And in a wedding, of course, or a bar mitzvah or whatever, that's really important. I mean, like, that's the most important thing. People, this is the one time in their life they're doing this. In the village life, this would have been one of the most important things of the year. It's so important. Somebody's getting married, or a baby lived till 13 and is becoming an adult. So like, people, this is a big deal, and they're going to come together and spend a lot of money, make a lot of food. And like the music is like the core thing. It's going to bring everybody together, and we're going to remember this for the rest of our lives. And so that's kind of how I try to explain it to folks. And for us, we're really lucky, because so we do this wedding thing, and a lot of the weddings we play are Jewish, but not all of them. People hire us because they want that energy. They don't care that the music we play is Jewish. And a lot of the music we play also is not, we're a klezmer band. So we're coming from a Jewish perspective, but a lot of the music we play comes from similar traditions that are not necessarily Jewish. We just approach it from this klezmer perspective.
Well, and it's true that like every ethnicity or every nationality has that celebratory music like you're talking about. Hispanics have, what is it, mariachi or ranchero music. And so I think that's a really good way to describe it, is it's not just Jewish music, it's a music of celebration, no matter what culture you are.
Yeah. And in our like modern world, it's problematic that people are getting cut off from that, because I think there's this is an essential human experience, to come together with your village, with your friends and family, the people and dance with them and connect with them, and have this communal experience. Going to a club is not like that. I love dancing to whatever music, but you're not having that. You're having a different kind of communal experience, say in like a dance club with dance music. But this disconnection from the people's roots and this communal experience that we had for thousands and thousands of years, we at least from our perspective, we see that as problematic. It's the same in the same sense that people are getting disconnected from their environment, from the land, from from all these things that are inherently valuable. And this is all part of that big picture that leads to like rampant consumerism and destroying the environment, and like the really big picture. So not that we're like saving the world or anything, but these little things like trying to bring people together in the community are important. And we're like huge advocates. We want it to, happen for everybody, all the different flavors of this. so we're like, that's why we feel it's kind of important what we do in our very little way, is to preserve that, because there's, at least from the klezmer, perspective, there's not that many folks left doing it. And there's a lot of folks who play klezmer on the West Coast, but there's not actually, is there another working klezmer band which is like, does this as their, not obviously it's not the only thing we do, but as like in the tradition of people working full-time klezmer? Not really. There are a few in New York. So, we consider that an important thing to like keep doing that, and to give people this experience. A lot of people haven't had this experience, and they're totally shocked. They're shocked that they come to a wedding and they hear music that's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're shocked at that feeling. They thought, because in the US especially, people expect to hear either DJ music, or they expect to hear a crappy cover band, and like that's fine because they have fun. And they're like, the idea, the assumption is I'm going to come to this wedding and we're going to have these musicians who are like hate the music they're playing. They have to do it because it's their paying gig for the weekend, and they're playing Stevie Wonder covers. And like, I love Stevie Wonder, but like they're going through the motion, and people have fun and they get drunk and it's a fun party. But when they hear this music, they're like, whoa, like they might never have had that experience. I did not have that experience growing up. Yeah. I know if I did, it would have been very affecting. I know I would have like been like, whoa, this thing that I just don't know about, this aspect of my tradition. I would have wanted to know more. And the first time I saw that, I was really surprised. And I wanted to know more, and it kind of led me down this path.
Well, it's interesting that you were mentioning that there aren't a lot of klezmer groups that do it. I mean, that people can reach out to, like our performing arts organizations. We've had luck finding a couple. There was one, mostly kosher, last year we had, but when I kind of ran through the list, and then I reached out to the different presenters and arts administrators in California and the Western states, and I said, does anyone know any good klezmer groups? And I think your guys' name came up by all the presenters.
Oh, well, I like to hear that. That's awesome. Well,
you guys are very well respected in the community. Oh. So you mentioned cover bands and playing Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
When you aren't playing klezmer, what do you listen to?
I very rarely listen to klezmer. Partly is that, and there's great recorded klezmer. For me, the experience is the live music experience. I love playing the music, and I love being part of the experience of being in the room with the music. But I'm not super compelled to unless I'm learning the music or something, to actually turn it on and listen to it. I listen to a lot of different stuff. I listen to a lot of Hindustani classical music. I listen a lot of Hariprasad these days. I'm just like a huge, and I'll use that as like my nap time music with my baby. So we listen to a lot of that. He's like the great Bansuri player of our times. I listen to a lot of Indonesian music. I'm a huge gamelan fan, and I've traveled and played that. And actually, a lot of the folks in our band have gamelan backgrounds, oddly enough. Every once in a while, it sneaks into the music. I listen to all the good American stuff. The band's been playing, oddly enough, some Cat Stevens lately. We've been doing some, and so I've been listening to just listening to Cat Stevens. I listen to a lot of Coltrane. I'm a huge YouTube fan, just in terms of I've listened to Coltrane all my life, but you like play a Coltrane record on YouTube and then they suggest 5 more that I've never heard of, which is crazy to me. Like, so you can I'm just spending a lot of time listening to Coltrane and following different different tendrils that leads me. There's a lot of Alice Coltrane suddenly. I never really think of listening to Alice Coltrane, but suddenly I might be listening to Alice Coltrane all day. They have like 400 Alice Coltrane records and concerts. So that's a very cool thing. So that sort of thing, and a lot of other stuff.
Awesome. And for in the group, how many people are in the group?
We've got 6 folks in the group. Clarinet, which is me. Dan Cantrell, the great accordion player, who's for the West Coast. The guy. Great composer and performer. Lila Sklar is our violinist, also really renowned player. Max Boulogne, one of my longest collaborators, who I brought into the band later, who's just an incredible guitar player. We have Michael Pinkham, who's our drummer, and and then we have the normal bass player is Eric Perney, but we're getting a sub actually and he is Miles J, who's like one of the best bass players. Like, he's an LA guy, and we play with sometimes, who's like one of the best incredible bass players and like music guys. We're so excited that he happened to be free. If you don't know him, look him up. He's just like a monster.
Awesome.
On many levels. So yeah, that's this. I think I said 6. Yeah. So that's the group.
So I was told by one of our board members that you can't have a klezmer band without clarinet. Is that true?
It's not true. You can definitely have a violin led group. And actually, something I wanted to add maybe about other klezmer groups is that, like, in San Francisco, we have Voretsky Pass, and they are an amazing klezmer group, and they're very important. They're very important in terms of also just as like in terms of teaching the music and part of the revival, bringing it back, and the scholarship behind a lot of the klezmer that's played right now.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have a clarinet player. But what they do is definitely concert klezmer. Like, they play parties. I've never seen them play a party before. If you really want a party and you really want to like touch this thing that I'm talking about, at least what we're going for with our group, I think you need a clarinet. There are groups that play with saxophone. To me, that's, I don't know if you know the term shonda.
No.
That's a Yiddish term. It's basically like shameful. Not that the Jews, I mean, it's like, it's all, I mean, there's no rules about this stuff. It's not like the Jews invented the clarinet. The clarinet is just it's just the marching band instrument from Europe that we integrated into the music for when it was around, and it was cheap, and they picked it up, and it has this amazing quality of being able to be very vocal in a way that, if you know a lot of Yiddish, the way that Yiddish is expressed really comes across in the clarinet. So if people are going, ay, 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 the clarinet also goes, ay, ay, ay. It just does it a little more melodically. The violin also can go, can also go, ay, ay, ay. So one or the other does work as a lead. You know, Frank London is a fantastic klezmer leader in New York, and he plays trumpet. So you don't need a clarinet, but I definitely think if you are with your people and you're doing this important thing and it's time to celebrate, I think you want a clarinet. It's the thing that cuts above everything else and leads. I think of it, I think of our band, sometimes I think of our band not really as like a folk band, but more like Led Zeppelin, more like a rock band. And because the voicing is sort of the same thing, especially if you think of it more as the quartet version, maybe like Led Zeppelin with a couple of extra folks. But the clarinet is the Robert Plant voice. Like, we try to rock as hard as that. Like, we try to bring the same energy as Led Zeppelin, as like the hardest rock music, but it's softer because we don't have a stack of amps. but that doesn't make it any less energetic, because we're putting that much energy in it. And I think you need that clarinet to fill that sonic space above everything, above the rhythm and the bass and the harmony.
Makes sense to me. I'm looking forward to it. So when people come, whether they're Jewish or not, or whatever ethnicity they come to the show, what do you hope they walk away with? What's that feeling that you want them to walk away with?
Well, so for concert, I mean, the first thing for a concert just is we want to do a great concert, and I want people to be blown away by not anything specific about like klezmer music or anything like that, but just that the band is it's a virtuoso band that has been playing together for a long time and makes really fantastic music. I think something that happens with klezmer music is not unlike the thing with the cover band I was talking about, but oftentimes people so there's a lot of community members who play klezmer who are not professional musicians. And that's a really good thing. We want as many people playing music, and we want as many people playing klezmer and learning klezmer and enjoying klezmer music. But then people go to their temple or they go to a bar mitzvah and they see the music. And again, it's kind of underwhelming because it's folks who are lawyers and doctors and whoever, and which is amazing. And maybe they're like pretty good musicians. And they're playing the songs and they're doing the thing. And they're like, oh, klezmer music, great. They might not have had the experience of folks who play music full time. Everybody in the band, that's all they do. Everybody tours. Everybody plays. Dan plays with SF Symphony and has played with Tom Waits and Bono, and Lila's played with Bjork, and and like everybody's done tours all around with everybody. And then they come together and do this music they love. And we want people to hear that music played by these musicians who are like great musicians and they're dedicated to the music. So that's the first thing, is that even if you don't know what kind of music it is, and even if nobody tells you, you should walk away being like, oh damn, that's a good band. Those guys are awesome musicians, and everybody's an interested musician. Everybody approaches the music in a really interesting way. And by the way, we're gonna do klezmer. We're gonna do songs, some stuff that's our own compositions, and then we're gonna pull in other stuff that we play as well. Like we were just kind of talking about our set list recently. We've been playing this Ethiopiques tune that we love, and it kind of fits together with some of the klezmer tunes we do. Mm-hmm. It ends up being so this kind of like 60s Ethiopian jazz stuff.
Nice.
I don't know why, we could really probably talk for a long time about like why that ends up in the set and like how it fits in, or you don't have to think of it that much. It just is what it is. A lot of this stuff starts because we're playing, blah, 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 and we switch songs all the time. And Dan, the accordion player, is this genius who knows a million songs. And like, once he gets going, if he's in a good mood and the music's flowing, we can't control him.
Yeah.
And he will go into songs we've never played before.
Nice.
That's not, sometimes it's not great because like we don't know them, and it turns out like the B part is quite complicated. Yeah. So right. Like, the A part, and then we get to the B part, and everyone's like, we don't know the chord changes in this, and that's not like as professional as I wish it would be, but the upside is you take those risks. Sometimes you have little car crashes, and sometimes something comes out of that. We're just like, holy shit. Like, what just happened? We just played that Ethiopian jazz tune. It turns out all of us know it. We didn't know that. Like, it's not something that we discussed before. And it's just something like I've listened to it for years. Max has listened to it for years. Dan just started. And we go home and I actually like learn the tune a little better. And then we play it again the next time we play. And then suddenly like it's a thing we play. And so like that's something we've been doing in concerts, and we love that tune. So we'll be jumping around a little bit, and then hopefully I don't actually know the performance hall that well, but for part of it we're gonna rock out and I hope that people really want to get up and dance. I don't know if it's like an appropriate space, and we'll just kind of work with people on that. If it's not, then that's fine. And if they want to, we'll egg them on and like trash the place. Only kidding. We're not going to trash the place, but people should hopefully want to like get pulled into the energy, into like that universal thing of like wanting to dance together, and be together, and connect through the music.
That sounds like an amazing experience. I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully you're looking forward to coming out to Torrance. And
We are.
we're out of time, so I gotta cut it off. But thank you so much, Jason. We're looking forward to it. And I will mention that just real quickly that Jason will be doing a workshop prior to the concert. If you're interested, please let us know. You can reach out at info@torrancearts.org. And Jason, thanks for taking the time, and we will look forward to seeing you on January 12th.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.